At 51, the tragedy of Leonardo DiCaprio is beyond heartbreaking, not because he has lost his fame, his fortune, or his place among Hollywood's most powerful stars, but because his life has become a quiet example of what it truly costs to be adored by the world while rarely being seen as a real human being. For decades, Leonardo has lived in a spotlight so intense that it has shaped every part of his identity, from the way he moves in public to the way he protects his private life. He became famous at an age when most people are still figuring out who they are, and once the world decided he was a symbol, it never really let him go. While millions admired him, the pressure of constant scrutiny slowly became its own kind of prison. Every relationship he has had has been treated like public property, every friendship has been questioned, and every personal choice has been turned into a headline. That alone is exhausting, but what makes it heartbreaking is that no matter how much he has achieved, people still reduce him to shallow narratives. He has delivered some of the most iconic performances of his generation, worked with legendary directors, and won the biggest awards in the industry, yet a huge part of the public continues to talk about him like he is still the teenage heartthrob from decades ago. Instead of allowing him to evolve, the world has trapped him in an image that feels impossible to escape. And the more he tries to stay private, the more obsessed people become, turning his silence into fuel for rumors. But perhaps the deepest tragedy is not about the tabloids at all, it's about loneliness. Fame may look glamorous, but it can isolate a person in ways most people will never understand. When you reach Leo's level of celebrity, trust becomes complicated. People want to be around you for reasons that aren't always genuine, and it becomes harder to know who truly cares about you versus who is simply attracted to the lifestyle. Even relationships can feel like negotiations, because the outside world is always watching and waiting for them to fail. Over time, that kind of pressure can quietly destroy the simple human need for peace and emotional safety. Many fans also believe the tragedy lies in how much of Leo's heart has been poured into causes that the world still refuses to take seriously. His environmental activism is not a side hobby, it's a mission he has dedicated his life to, spending years warning people about climate change, funding projects, and using his platform to push for awareness. But imagine the emotional weight of caring that deeply about the planet and watching governments, corporations, and even everyday people ignore the danger. It's a slow kind of heartbreak, the kind that doesn't show up in photographs but lives in the mind. And even though he smiles on red carpets, there is often a guarded look in his eyes that suggests he carries more than people realize. At 51, Leonardo DiCaprio has everything society claims should make a man fulfilled, yet his story feels strangely tragic because he has rarely been allowed to simply exist without being judged, chased, or misunderstood. The world cheers for him, laughs at him, criticizes him, and idolizes him all at once, but very few truly know him. And that is the cruelest truth of all. Sometimes the biggest tragedy isn't losing everything, it's having everything and still being unable to find the one thing that matters most, which is genuine freedom to live like a normal person.